in ways we cannot see. He will make a way for me. He will be my guide, hold me closely to his side. With love and strength for each new day, he will make a way. He will make a way.
Welcome to From the Heart. I'm Kathy Benz, and today I have with me Dr. Catherine Byrne and Missy Missy Monroe from St. Gianna Crisis Pregnancy Home, here today to talk about that. I know that you will enjoy all the information that they have to give, so we're just thrilled to have both of you ladies here today. This is such a great mission that the Catholic group as a whole has started, and I understand that more and more people are coming on board from other faiths.
That's correct. We're having volunteers get in touch with us from many different churches in the Bowling Green area.
So it's not just a Catholic-run organization. I mean, you all are doing the administration, but you're accepting services and goods from many others.
Yes, we are, certainly.
Well, that's
Happily.
a blessing. Yes, that's what we want, don't we? So, so how did you all get started with this home?
Well, actually, St. Gianna Crisis Pregnancy Home, it's a joint venture between Holy Spirit Catholic Church and St. Joseph Catholic Church there in Bowling Green. And we have the home there on Holy Spirit campus. And it's for women who they're going to find themselves homeless. They're going to be in a bad situation, such as physically or emotionally abusive relationship, and they need a safe place to come to.
Absolutely.
It actually grew out of another ministry that we have. The two churches have a Good Samaritan ministry, and that is a program where free of charge we did work for people. They might fix a faucet or put grab bars in a shower. They've built a bunch of ramps for people who had to start using a walker or a wheelchair, and we provide transportation. And at one of the meetings, my husband said, I think we should have a crisis pregnancy home for women. And I think my initial reaction was negative. I said, what do we know about that? You know, this is not the scope of things that we're used to dealing with. But we felt that the Holy Spirit planted the seed, and we started meeting twice a week to pray about it. And then we began to research some homes in other towns. We went to Owensboro, Kentucky, Cincinnati, Ohio. We went to Omaha, Nebraska, and Dallas, Texas. And we began to study websites of even more homes and talk with their directors on the phone. And what we realized was you don't need a government agency to do this. These were regular people who were taking a leap of faith. And so the idea continued to grow in our mind. We started to look for a house, but it's so expensive to buy housing right now. And then we found out that the house that is a rental home on the Holy Spirit property, the lease was coming up for renewal. So we approached our pastor, Father Randy, and he thought it was a great idea to use it for a pregnancy home. And those folks who had been living there bought a house, and the home was turned over to us.
What a great blessing. God is working miracles here, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
And many other organizations have also seen the need for this type of service, this type of home. But what a blessing that you all have decided to move on with it. So,
thank you.
So how did this plan to open this home come about?
Well, as I mentioned, mostly from growing out of Good Samaritan. And after we received permission to use the house from the bishop came down to visit us and talked with us. And he said that we would need to be, in the beginning, under Catholic Charities to monitor, make sure that we knew what we were doing. But then we began to recruit people. And we learned quickly that this is on the heart of so many people. You know, Catholics in general are pro-life, but I think we've always felt we weren't doing enough. We believed that we wanted, babies to be born and mothers to have a good pregnancy, but we weren't actually doing something about it. So it was getting people together and starting to talk about what could you do that really led to the birth of the home.
That is, again, such an amazing blessing how God is leading you all. So, why do you think there's a need for this home?
Well, the different agencies, for one thing. We've really done our due diligence and gone to different meetings with all these other agencies, and they've told us that we will fill up very quickly. My own personal physician, when I told him we were doing this, and he said that is a huge thing. He sees this in his practice all the time. And these women wind up in crisis pregnancies because they have no place to sleep. They aren't eating well. They're not getting to their doctors, their obstetrician's appointments. So they become a crisis pregnancy. So it's, we've had so many people tell us that this is something. There's many different programs here in Bowling Green and surrounding areas that they'll provide things, diapers, formulas, clothing, but there's no place for them to live and make sure they're eating properly and getting to their doctor's appointments.
What a blessing. I'm so glad to hear that. So what is the overall mission of this home?
Well, I think it's important for people to understand that we are not political and we're not government sponsored. Our mission is simply to care for the woman who has chosen life for her child but isn't able to provide adequate support for herself and her child. So our plan is to meet all of their needs during their pregnancy and after the baby is born for up to 8 months, free of charge. So our mission is to bring them into the home where we can provide a nurturing environment. We want it to be a warm family type of setting, and that's why we plan to hire a house mother who will be always in the home 24 hours a day except for normal time away to take care of the things that she needs to do. And we don't want to provide just housing during the pregnancy. We want to help them move to independence. And for a lot of that women, that will mean making sure they get their high school diploma or their GED or maybe technical college, helping them to move on so that when they leave us, they'll be adequately able to support themselves and their child.
Well, I'm personally glad to hear that there's no government interference here, because some of the regulations might not be what you would want.
Exactly.
So I'm very, very happy to hear that part. And yet it is a charitable organization under the 501c3.
Yes, it is it's a 501c3, so any donations are tax deductible.
Yeah.
And people are glad to hear that we're not under government regiments.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree with all that too. So how do you plan to make this all work, achieve these goals?
Well, when the women are with us, first of all, they can come to us anytime during their pregnancy and stay up to 8 months after the baby's born. And that's a big deal there. Some of them that we found, they only can stay for 3 months. And that's definitely not long enough. But while they're with us, they'll have a one-on-one mentor to help them set goals that and try to help them achieve the goals. And, once if they need help doing that, then the mentor will do what she can, and then to set new goals when appropriate. And then while they're there with us, we will teach them, we'll have classes, our volunteers will come in and have classes in budgeting, parenting, child care, cooking, nutrition, theology of the body, just general life skills, actually.
Yes.
So what else was there?
We do want people to know that while we'll be providing these things, that we are not a health care provider, nor can we afford to provide for their medical insurance. So we know that from hearing from other homes that most of the women who come to us will be on Medicaid. There may be a few who have private insurance through their workplaces, but we personally will not be able to afford to provide their medical care. They'll have obstetricians on the outside and pediatricians on the outside to take care of them.
I think that's wise on your part, really. So what types of goals are you talking about for these young ladies?
Well, such as being enrolled in college or university. Like Kathy said, getting a GED or getting a driver's license even.
Yeah.
Just, and where do they see themselves wanting to go? Where do they want to be in the future? And what can we do to help them set goals to try to start to achieve that in the end?
So see beyond the next 20 days into the next
Exactly.
year to 2
Yes,
years.
And in
absolutely.
addition to looking at their own goals, we need them to be ready to be mothers. You know, we want them to make themselves a better person and a more independent person, but we also want to help them prepare to be a mother to this baby that they're carrying. And that's a whole new skill set for women.
So you're going to be encouraging growth in every way, physically, mentally, spiritually,
Yes.
all of those areas.
And spiritually, we do plan to encourage them to find a faith home. You know, it's a Catholic home, but we're not going to try to convert people to Catholicism. If someone has no religion and they want to find out about ours, great. But we wanted to encourage them to find some faith home, because we know when they leave us, a faith home is a great source of support. To have other godly people interested in your welfare would be a wonderful thing. So one of the things we'll encourage them to do is to go to Sunday services. And there are 3 churches within walking distance of our home.
And while they're there too, we're going to have what we're going to call a boutique. And it'll have
yes.
baby clothes, maternity clothes, and even small housewares for them for once they leave. But they can't just walk in and take what they want. They're going to have to earn it. You know, they will earn points for attending a Sunday service, for making sure that their assigned chores are completed every week, or, you know, for just certain things that we determine we can give them points for.
Will they be signing
So
a
that-
contract when they come?
Yes, they'll be signing a lot of forms when they come in, because we don't want women to come in and fail. And they need to understand this is not a big house, and they'll be living in close contact. There'll be 2 women in each bedroom, and potentially in time 2 babies. And under those sort of circumstances, they have to agree to a group of house rules. For instance, no drugs, no smoking in the house, no alcohol use, in the home. There will be restrictions on their cell phone use, because you can't be talking on the phone at 11 o'clock when the lady in the next bed is trying to sleep or her baby is trying to sleep. And we understand from some other homes that that's one of the hardest things to get women to accept, is the idea of limiting their cell phone usage. There'll be curfews. They'll have to be in by 9 or 10 at night, depending on weekday or weeknight. And so all of that will be explained to them. That's Missy and my job,
Right.
is to explain the house rules, and they must agree to cooperate with those rules in order to be able to stay with us.
Well, when you're in a larger home like that, you have to be considerate of all the others there. It's not just for you, it's for everyone.
Exactly.
And
Yes.
to add on to what Kathy just said, as far as them receiving visitors, we have a separate space designated for visitation by outsiders that we will have to be aware of and sort of vet. We have to
Okay.
know who's coming and going.
Good.
And any visitor, there will be no visitors allowed past that visitation point into the living space, because, that's where other women live. Potentially 5 other women live with their babies, so
And they need their privacy too.
that's right.
Yes.
That's right.
I agree with all that. Wow.
Yeah. And even we told them they can't do FaceTime in the house, because that may if they do a video of their roommate, that interferes with her privacy. And there may be women there who don't want certain people to know exactly where they are,
I can
if they've been in
understand.
threatening relationships.
That's real dicey there. So how would a woman come to live in this home?
Well, there's 2 main ways. I think many of them will come to us via the internet. If a young woman finds herself unexpectedly pregnant and isn't prepared to handle that situation, they go online and they Google crisis pregnancy or home for a pregnant woman. And we have a lovely website, and I guess at the end of the discussion, the audience will get to see our website. And it was produced by one of the staff members at Holy Spirit, and it's a beautiful website. And so they can find that online by Googling crisis pregnancy, and then that will get them in touch with either Missy or I by either email or by phone. And then the other group will be referred by agencies. And we've already had referrals from Salvation Army's homeless shelter and Life Skills. And so we know, and an individual counselor can refer. So we'll have those two groups to refer to us.
And we've actually already had 10. Have we mentioned that yet?
No, we haven't.
We've already had to refer 10 women because we're not open. So we would already be full with a waiting list. There's that big of a need.
And that's just in this area.
That's just in
Yes.
this area.
Warren County.
Yes.
Well, I had one call from Glasgow, but yes.
But you could potentially serve several counties around
There's
us.
no
Oh,
geographic.
no geographic limitations.
No. They can
Any
come from anywhere.
ethnicity, any faith, any geographic area. If we have an open bed and they need us and they can live with our house rules, then they would be accepted.
Well, I do like, back to your idea of them following some sort of church, going to some church. Our pastor has said more than once recently, only 14% of people in Warren County go to church on any given Sunday. So it's more likely that a lot of these women will not be churchgoers at the time they come in.
Yes, but we plan to have Bible studies, prayer sessions. I've recently ordered their first Bibles, little prayer journals, so they can take their notes and write what's in their heart. And we have a spirituality committee, and their job is to make the house look Christian. Okay, decorate for the liturgical season, a nativity scene, an Easter lily, that sort of thing. And the spirituality committee will conduct some of these classes. And Missy mentioned theology of the body. And that's about realizing that your body is a gift from God, and you need to care for your body and the body of the people that you interact with. And sexuality is a big part of that. So those will be open and free discussions so that the women can realize this is your gift to protect.
I'm also glad to hear there's no drugs, alcohol, or smoking, because that
Forbidden.
does make a big difference in the quality of your health.
Well,
Right.
and with that being said, if they do test positive, we do have the right to test if we suspect or search a bedroom. They know that coming in. And if they do test positive, we will try to find them a rehab. And as long as they are in rehab at least 30 days and complete that and come out drug-free, that if they're still pregnant, they can come back to us.
Oh, you're going to let them come back?
Yes.
We'll let them reapply.
Yes.
And if we think that otherwise they're a good candidate and they complete the program,
Right.
we would give them a second chance.
Well, Jesus gave many chances.
Yes,
Right. And we don't want to throw anybody away.
That's the Christian way.
That's
So I'm
right.
glad to. I think you already answered this. The types of classes you're offering for the ladies. You answered more or
Just
less.
that, yeah, we did.
But there's so many. There's,
Yeah.
budgeting, interview skills. Like we have folks who have volunteered who are HR people, and they know how a person should present themselves if they want to get a good job. In the cooking and nutrition she mentioned, and we've already been donated a couple sewing machines because we have ladies who would like to teach simple sewing skills because it's expensive to take your jeans to get them professionally hemmed, and if you can learn those sort of simple skills yourselves, and then perhaps as they graduate, we'll be able to get them as a donation a little sewing machine. There's a lot of people who outgrow that need and are ready to give those up over time. So.
But
There'll be so many different classes, even gardening. We're going to have a garden
Right.
plot. There's a large
Oh,
gardening area on Holy Spirit, and we plan to teach them some vegetable and flower gardening, and maybe they can't use that when they leave us and go to an apartment. But someday, if we can plant that little seed, that's
They
another
might could
thing.
have a patio garden with a few pots.
Yes,
Right.
exactly.
Well,
Grow
and
some
with
tomatoes.
that, we have the Holy Apostles Orthodox Church is right next door to us. And they have large gardening. I think they even may sell their produce. And they have offered to give us plantings for our garden, as well as teach gardening, as well as give us their overflow produce.
They're going
for
to teach the
house.
gardening classes.
Yes, they have
have
offered to
offered to.
help teach it,
How
yes.
sweet. Well, gardening is one of my loves too. So how sweet that you can eat your own food, grow your food, and then eat
Right.
it.
And you can do that in patio containers.
And we have a lot of men on our, we call it the operations committee. They take care of the grounds and any repairs to the house that would be needed or maintenance to the house. And I said to my husband, these ladies are going to be pregnant. They're going to need raised beds.
Yes.
So they've already promised to build us some raised beds
Yes.
to make things a little bit easier for
Very
them.
much easier. That's what I have. A
good.
whole lot easier.
Yes, it
You will-
is.
They will be very pleased with that.
And we're going to have the Good Samaritan Ministry is going to build a deck around our new addition when it's finished. We think it's important for the women to get outside in nature. It's a beautiful pastoral setting with big trees. It's quiet. We've been donated rockers, and the women can go outside and rock their babies or pray, meditate. It's a good place to be out in nature on pretty days.
This is going to be very homey and inviting, isn't it?
That's our goal, definitely, yes. And the home is 80 to 100 years old, probably. And it has a lot of charm. It even has wavy floors.
Yes, everyone notices when they come into the house that the floors are not flat.
But it feels very homey, just
It does.
even though it's empty of furniture now. It's a very homey atmosphere already.
Sounds wonderful. I'm sure some of these girls have not had that atmosphere in a while.
Probably not.
We know a lot of them will come to us from chaotic backgrounds. You know, those are the women who end up with unplanned pregnancy, well, most easily. And if you come from a chaotic background and you come to a house that's organized, where you have responsibilities, that's faith-based, safe, those are all great blessings.
Yes, and I can imagine the adjustment period would take a little while, but that would really help these ladies just to feel safe.
Right, and I will say that if someone comes to us in an abusive domestic violence situation, we are not necessarily set up for that, so they more than likely will be referred to BRASS. And
For
that's
those
one of the
worst cases.
organizations that we have already talked to, and you know, they
They're
know
just
we
set
may,
up better for
yeah,
that.
they're set up for that, and they know that we're not, and we'll gladly help them. So,
And we are going to put security cameras on the house, and those numbered locks, so that we want to provide them with the best security that we can, knowing a lot of them may have smaller problems, but if they have a serious domestic abuse problem, we would refer them to BRASS.
And that makes perfect sense. So I understand you all are the administrators, more or less. The both
we're the
of you?
house
We're
directors.
the house directors.
Kathy and I will be doing the interview process for when the women come to us at first, and you know, to see if we're fit. They may not like our rules and won't want to stay with us, or we may just determine that we won't be able to help them. But we never want to just put someone out. We would always try to find someplace that the best we can. So.
Are there others in our area, anywhere near?
Not residential. We have 2 pregnancy support centers, the one on Magnolia Street and the one by Living Hope. But those, they provide some counseling, ultrasounds, and they give people diapers and strollers and things like that. But the closest residential one is the one in Owensboro, but that's often full. And then there's one in Louisville, and where is the other one?
E-Town.
And one in Elizabethtown.
Yeah.
So there's a great need for this.
But they are often full.
All of them.
Though I know the one in Louisville has a long, how many did they say was on their waiting list? I think
I don't
a
recall.
large number of people on their waiting list. And you're only pregnant for so long, so there is a need.
So the need is very great. Wow. So what do you need for your volunteers? What are you looking for in a volunteer?
Well, we're still looking for mentors. I think of all the positions at the house, all the different committees that we have, mentors is very special because one participant is assigned to one mentor to walk the whole way through her pregnancy and her time after delivery with us. And she has to meet with the mentor will meet at least once a week with her young woman, and it's very important that they establish a good relationship. So we need people who can feel they can make a longer term commitment for that, and so many people think, oh, I don't know if I can do that, if I can be there on a longer term. So we are still looking for mentors, drivers. You know, many of these women will have cars. They'll need rides to school or work or to their obstetric appointments, and people to spell the house mother. She can't be in the home 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. She needs time off, and so we'll need volunteers to come into the house. And all of those positions must be women. Anyone working with the women has to be female. But we have men to do other jobs, right?
Right. They can do fundraising. They can do communications. They're obviously going to do the yard work, even though any woman can mow the yard.
Well, do you have plans for follow-up after they leave this center, this home?
We do. We're going to offer a monthly, probably a brunch or breakfast, and invite them back just to stay in touch with us, to, stay in community and see what's working for them, or are there some needs that we can still possibly help them with. But we want them to be independent, but we want them to understand we're all interdependent. We all need community. So we want to, remain in touch with them, and we're going to want to see those babies again too.
Yes. We haven't even talked much about the babies.
Right.
We plan to have a wall of little photographs over time.
Our trophy wall.
We look forward to that.
And they'll be so excited to have their baby up there.
That's right.
Wouldn't that be a blessing? So, what do you see for the future after a year, 2 years down the road for this organization?
Well, we're already becoming concerned that we're just not big enough. The fact that we've had 10 requests for housing already, and we have a home right now that can only hold 6 people plus a house mother, we know that there may be a need to expand. So we want to watch our money, save our money, knowing that someday we may need to add on to the home more bedrooms and bathrooms. I mean, right now we're adding a dining room and classroom unit, but we may need to add bedrooms and bathrooms to be able to take on more women, or maybe someday even find a larger home, if that's financially possible.
Is there plenty of room on the
There's
campus?
a lot of land on Holy Spirit. Do you know how many
We have
acres we have?
42 acres total.
42 acres, yeah.
So you've
it's
got
a
plenty
big-
of room to do this?
Yes.
We do.
Well, I'm really glad.
With the parish's permission.
Wow, I don't think you're going to suffer for that. I believe that they'll be right behind you. So why did you call it this St. Gianna Crisis
Well, I'd love
Pregnancy
to tell
Home?
this story. First of all, it's a crisis pregnancy home. It's not a homeless shelter. Some of these women may have homes, but there may be drug use or violence. And then why is it St. Gianna? Well, St. Gianna Molla was a pretty modern saint. She was an Italian pediatrician. She died in 1962 at the age of 39. And while she was a pediatrician, she was just tireless in her work for the poor and the hungry and the elderly and the babies of her community. And when she was 39, she was pregnant with their 4th child, and she developed tumors in her uterus. And they said in order to treat her, she would have to lose the baby. And she said, no, I'll just go on with my pregnancy. So she did deliver a healthy daughter, but 1 week later she died from peritonitis, which was a complication of the surgery that she required. And she's a patron saint of physicians, mothers, and the unborn. So she seemed perfect for us.
That is amazing. So we are so glad that both of you ladies have come here today. It's just a wonderful blessing. This is from the heart, and I hope that you'll tune in tomorrow for another one. This is Catherine and Missy from St. Gianna Crisis Pregnancy Home. Thank you for watching today. We look forward to seeing you all again soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Where there seems to be no way, He works in ways we cannot see. He will make a way for me. He will be my guide, hold me closely to His side. With love and strength for each new day, He will make a way. He will make a